approaches me after I get off stage and tells me I'm pretty, but says nothing about my poem.
I was watching this spoken word performance on the Voices and Power channel, and naturally when I watch videos, I read the comments. The title of the video, I don't know if it's the title of the poem as well, but it's titled Boys Call Me Pretty, and it's by poet Ayanna Florence. You saw what the poem is about. You saw how she came in, and I put it in the beginning of this video. That was literally how she started out the poem. So like I said, I read the comments when I'm watching videos, and there wasn't many comments on the video. I don't know how many there are on there now, but at the time that I watched it, there was only 2 comments, and both of them were basically negative comments. One basically took it as like she can't take a compliment or something, or what, she can't take a compliment? Was she too stuck up for a compliment or something? Like she was complaining or ranting about the compliment, and that shows something about her. The person said, you know, that shows something about the person for ranting about it, basically. And then the other comment basically said, looks can be deceiving, huh? That's literally what the comment said. In this situation, in this context or whatever, saying looks can be deceiving, huh? That's basically saying she was pretty, like you was pretty, like he said, you was pretty, but until you spoke, until you start ranting about that compliment, until you opened your mouth, not so pretty. Looks can be deceiving. She even says, there's a line where she says, he wonders how such ugly words can come out such a pretty mouth. I can see where a person can take that as complaining or ranting about a compliment, but I also very much resonate with her as a poet myself, but just in general. Like, imagine having the confidence and the courage to go into a public space, on stage, have that attention on yourself, and be expressing something, sharing something that you wrote that you're so passionate about, or if it was something like a traumatic experience or something, and you finally got that courage to get up there and share that, and the person comes up and tells you you're pretty. Imagine, I don't know, even something as basic, like if you're a man, imagine just having a hard day at work or something. You're at work still, and a woman comes by and she compliments your work uniform or something, or says you look good in your uniform or something. You might be flattered, but are you going to be flattered and maybe possibly thinking like, yeah, you as somebody you might, you know, lay down in bed with, or just, you know, take the compliment and be wondering like, oh, I mean, okay, thank you. Or would you be thinking like, okay, she took the time out of her day to notice that I'm at work looking good in my work uniform. This is somebody that I might want to take some time to get to know or something. Like, you're probably not going to be thinking all that. If anything, you're just going to take it as the compliment, say thank you, and keep it pushing. You might be wondering like, I mean, why did she compliment my uniform? You might even be wondering like, she must want this. I mean, she coming up complimenting me, telling me I look good in my uniform. She must want something, because, you know, I ain't even gonna get into that, how guys be thinking and stuff sometimes, but more than likely you're gonna think she wants something, and you will probably act on that. You're not gonna be thinking, oh, she took the time to appreciate my hard work. She took the time to see that I'm a hard-working man. And it's not gonna be none of that. Because, like, if you're in a certain setting, such as an open mic event, you go to an event like that, you're probably going to be, as a person performing, you're probably going to be expecting to talk about your poetry, to talk about other poets' poems and stuff like that. You're not going to be going there expecting to get compliments on your appearance. You're going to want compliment and constructive criticism or whatever on your craft. If we're out in Walmart, we at the park, or you on Instagram scrolling and you like my picture, double tap it and comment on there that I'm pretty, that's different than coming out to an event that I'm performing at, and all you have to say is, oh, you're pretty. Wow, you're pretty. It's like, I don't know, it's like, yes, you can take the compliment and say thank you or whatever and keep it pushing. It's nice and all, and you can appreciate that compliment, but at the same time, at that setting and as something, you're something doing something that you're passionate about, you know, in an environment, doing something that you're passionate about, you're gonna probably be thinking like, yeah, or how this, if this was her experience, I'm just trying to put myself in her shoes, and I can easily do that because, like I said, I'm a poet too, and I resonate with this poem because that's how I would be feeling too. Yes, I would say thank you. Yes, I would appreciate the compliment, and I'm gonna get to another aspect too, but just in the context of what her poem was and just what these comments was, it's like, the whole time this is how I would be thinking, the whole time I was standing up there performing, saying these words, did you even listen to the words that I spoke and how passionate my voice was speaking these words? Or was you just looking at how pretty I was, or how pretty I am, how pretty I was standing up there saying nothing to you because you're not even listening, you're just looking at my appearance? And instead of thinking that, some people will actually just speak their mind and say it, like, okay, how did you like my poem? Like, did you resonate with anything in my poem? Did you like anything about my poem? Or was you just looking at how I look to you? Or some people would be rude about it, like, she took whatever she felt about that, she took that experience and created from it. She went up there and performed. She didn't just, well, I don't know, I can't speak for what she did in that situation, but I'm assuming in that moment she didn't just clock on the dude for calling her pretty, but she took the time and maybe thought about it, how she felt in that moment, what she thought she was having in that moment, and put it into some spoken word. But like I said, I can look at it on another aspect too. Some people like to start conversation with small talk. So if the dude or whatever, the man came up to her and said, "You're pretty," that could have just been his way of starting conversation, of leading up to him complimenting her performance, or having questions about her performance, or having, you know, a business proposition for her or whatever. Like, he might not have just wanted to go up to her and, hey, your poem is great, your poem was great, I love you, how you performed this, I love how you said. He might have not wanted to go up and just come out with it like that. He might have thought she was pretty and liked her work as well and wanted to get that out too. So I don't know, I guess if that was the case, it would be better to, you know, just go up, say, hey, oh my gosh, I think you're really pretty. I also really enjoyed your work. I really love this part of your performance. I really like how you said this. I really resonated with this, or whatever the case may be. But if that's not the case and he just wanted to compliment her appearance, you know, he has that right to do that. But she also has a right to feel how she feels, and she has that right to express it in the way that she feels she wants to express it. And this way, she did it in a productive, creative way. It was a healthy release of those emotions or that expression or whatever. So yeah, to the other comment, it doesn't show anything negative about her or her character or whatever. It actually shows basically the opposite of that. It shows that she's able to openly express herself. She may have good communication skills as well. We can kind of debate on that part because we don't know what she said in that moment, if this is a real experience. But it also shows that she's able to, like I said, like, express and release certain emotions or whatever the case may be, whatever she's feeling, in a healthy, productive, creative way. And I think it also shows that she has some level of respect for herself and her craft. Yes, looks can be deceiving, but she did look pretty confident doing that performance, and she sounded very confident. She went hard in it, like, she wasn't holding back. She said what she said and she meant it. She respects her craft. She respects the confidence in her voice and being able to express however she's feeling, and you're gonna respect it too. She said she's more than just a pretty face and a doll for your display. But also, I was thinking about it too, and pretty to a grown woman can be like telling a grown man he's cute. A grown man don't want nobody telling him he's cute. So the same thing applies. I don't think a grown woman wants nobody telling her she's pretty. Even if you take the compliment, it's still like in your mind it's gonna be like, okay, pretty. Like pretty is something. That's what you would call a little girl or something. You'll tell a little girl she's pretty, but a grown woman, you want to call her beautiful or something. She said, "I was Lilith long before I was Eve."
And you were never built to handle all this beast of these scars. Never needed your approval in the first place. That I was Lilith long before I was Eve.
I don't think people should be getting too sensitive and defensive over people's craft. Like, it was a spoken word performance. Like, if you're gonna go watch that, you're gonna go on a spoken word channel and watch a type of performance just to criticize it in that type of way. I don't know. I just don't feel like that makes sense, because people can express themselves in a lot of different ways, and it don't mean that, like, basically just her doing this poem and expressing this poem in that way, you know, basically saying like she don't really appreciate how this man just told her she's pretty and didn't acknowledge what else she was up there doing. Like, it wasn't like she was up there just shaking ass, or she was a model or something, to where, you know, complimenting her appearance would be appropriate. She was up there, and not in this piece. Obviously, she was talking about a different performance, but she was up there performing something. We don't know what that performance was, but still, don't go out there taking poems and songs and just artworks, art pieces in general, too personal and getting too worked up on them, and like what these people were doing in these comments. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Just keep it moving. I can see if she was up there saying some, you know, belligerent things or something like that, then yeah. But she didn't say anything wrong. She didn't do anything wrong. She was just expressing herself. And yeah, people can express themselves in a quote-unquote wrong way, but she wasn't doing that. And those comments were unnecessary. Yes, people can have their opinions, and they have that right to say that, but I'm just saying, like, it's not really necessary. As somebody that writes myself, as a poet myself, or just speaking for people who create in general, we all are creators, really. Most of us are musicians now these days, but just every experience, or every like everything an artist puts out is not exactly their experience. It's not exactly how that they feel. Sometimes they could be putting themselves in somebody else's shoes, or telling a story and things like that, storytelling. So it's just a lot of things, like just don't take it personal.
So I just finished editing this, but I just wanted to say the YouTube comments, there's a little bit more on there, but the Instagram comments, that's where all the talk is at. I went on Instagram, I went on Voices and Powers page, and I found that they had posted her performance, and of course I went to the comments again, and it's a lot more on there, and they got a lot more to say, but it's not just all negative. There's some positive ones in there, and I want to highlight those as well. But for the negative comments that was on Instagram, I don't know, it's just, they was talking about men don't want this, men don't want that, and it's like, she knows that is the whole purpose of her poem. Like, why would y'all think that she went up there and did this performance to get a man? Like, obviously she don't want y'all. She said that, like, if you was actually listening to her performance or whatever, instead of just being so offended by how loud she was speaking, how aggressive she was speaking, or by her quote unquote ranting about a compliment, then you would have comprehended that. Like, she don't want men that don't want her, like, they don't want her as she is, or only want her as a pretty doll that don't speak. Why would you think she went there with that specific piece to get a man? I don't know. She wasn't on stage disrespecting her man or her husband. even if she don't even got one, like that wasn't the whole point at all. That wasn't the point at all. She was addressing boys that approach her in a certain way. There was another comment that said, you know, we've heard this poem X amount of times. We're not gonna, I don't know, something like that. And when will black women get it, or something like, okay. And how many times have we read comments like this over and over again in different circumstances? I've also written some poems that are similar to this one, and I say that because there was some comments talking about she copied someone else's poem. I can't remember exactly the name of the person, the poet that they was talking about, but I did go watch that poet's performance, and it's a similar topic, you know, what they was talking about. The performance, like, I guess the nature of it was similar, but it was two different performances still. And like, even with the ones that I wrote myself, they're similar, but it's two different. Hers is hers and mine is mine. Nobody, like they say, there's nothing new under the sun, but nobody's going to be able to tell your experience like you, because nobody had your exact experience. People might have been through the same thing, but not in your exact way. But I like how no one got her all worked up and riled up in the comments. She was even replying to some of the comments gracefully. Even the one that said that she copied from the other poet, she responded. She wasn't rude or anything. She was like, you know, thanks for mentioning that. I might have to go check that poem out and reach out to her. So that just, again, shows that she has that ability to have that control and know when to express certain things and how to do it in a productive way.